Do you have a lot of sacred figurines, worship statues, and Feng Shui items placed on your family altar? This is a habit that many families have. Everyone wants the altar to feel more spiritually powerful, more prosperous, and better at attracting good fortune. So people often think that adding more items means adding more blessings, and adding more symbols means adding more luck. But the more things you place on the altar, the easier it is for it to feel cluttered and lose the solemn, dignified presence it is supposed to have. At first glance, it may seem complete, but in reality, it can feel cramped and heavy. Because of that, the energy also has a harder time gathering fully and harmoniously. The key lies in the arrangement. What you place there, where you place it, how you keep everything balanced, how bright the altar is, and how clean it is, those are the things that truly determine the presence and energy of a worship space. So in today's video, I want to share with you how to arrange your altar in a more reasonable way so you can preserve your reverence while also helping this space better support prosperity and positive energy. If you care about the altar in your home, make sure to watch this entire video because there are very small details that can affect the prosperity and energy of your whole living space. Let us begin. First, let me tell you why so many families place special importance on the altar when talking about prosperity. The altar is tied to family roots, tradition, and the bond between generations. Honoring ancestors has long been seen as a way to show gratitude, respect, and preserve family values. That is why this space should always be kept neat and solemn. So why is the altar often linked to wealth and good fortune? In Feng Shui, the worship area carries a yin quality, meaning it is quiet, still, and sacred. It helps balance the yang areas of the home, like the living room or kitchen, where there is more movement and daily activity. Because of that, the altar helps keep the energy of the home steady and balanced. When this area is clean, organized, and warm, the whole home tends to feel more harmonious, and work, life, and finances often flow more smoothly. That is why arranging the altar properly matters. It helps preserve a solemn atmosphere, creates stability, and supports better balance in the home's energy. Here are the key principles to keep in mind. First, how to arrange the altar. When setting up an altar, the first thing to remember is that the incense burner should be placed in the center. This is usually the main focal point, so the other items can be arranged around it in a clear and balanced way. When the center is steady, the whole altar looks more orderly, bright, and respectful. From that center point, the other worship items should be arranged in a harmonious way, with enough open space. Lamps, flower vases, water cups, fruit trays, and ancestor photos should each have a clear place. They should not block one another or all be pushed to one side. A tidy altar always feels more stable and more dignified than one that is overcrowded. That is also why the altar should not hold too many items. Many people think the more they place there, the more sacred it becomes. But an altar that is too full often feels heavy, cluttered, and less pure. What gives an altar its presence is usually its neatness, order, and the sense of respect it creates. Photos, lamps, flower vases, and water cups should also be placed in a clear order. The incense burner stays in the middle. Lamps or candle holders usually go on both sides for balance. Flowers and fruit should be placed neatly while keeping the main worship area open. When everything has a clear position, the altar looks brighter, deeper, and more solemn. Put simply, arranging an altar well means giving each item its proper place, keeping everything balanced, and honoring the center. That neatness is what helps the altar hold both its energy and its presence. Second, how to choose materials for the altar. If you want the altar to feel full of life, the material matters a lot. Some altars feel warm, deep, and full of presence the moment you see them. Others may have all the right items but still feel cold or heavy. The difference often comes from the material and the way light is used. Natural wood is often preferred because it feels warm, durable, and rich. Design principles that focus on calm and comfort also tend to value natural materials, earthy tones, and warm surfaces because they make a space feel more stable and inviting. Along with that, ceramic, bronze, fresh flowers, clean water, and soft lighting can create a very balanced rhythm in the worship space. Ceramic feels calm and grounded. Bronze adds dignity. Clean water brings purity. Fresh flowers add life. Light and incense bring warmth. When these elements are in balance, the altar looks brighter and feels more alive. Third, how to choose lighting for the altar. As for lighting, the altar should have a warm, gentle glow that is still clear enough. Interior design guidance for calming spaces often favors warm, indirect, or adjustable light because it makes a space feel softer and more peaceful. Lighting that is too dim can make the altar feel heavy. Lighting that is too harsh can take away the stillness it should have. The colors around the altar should also lean toward deep, warm, elegant tones. Warm wood shades, deep brown, dark gold, and other rich tones often give the space more depth and a stronger sense of stability. When the colors are softer, the eyes focus more easily, and the altar feels calmer overall. I have noticed many common mistakes people make when arranging an altar. Some of them seem minor at first, but they can make the worship space lose its solemn feel and make it harder to maintain good energy. One very common mistake is placing the altar in the wrong spot. If it is set in a noisy area, too exposed, near a busy walkway, or close to active living spaces, it becomes much harder for the worship area to keep the calm and dignity it needs. An altar needs quiet and a certain level of solemnity, so even a slightly unsuitable location can change the whole feel of the space. The second mistake is placing too many items on it. Many people believe that the more objects they add, the more sacred and complete the altar will feel. But in reality, when everything is packed too tightly, the altar can start to feel heavy, cluttered, and cramped. The center is no longer clear, and the space loses the openness and purity that matters so much. Another common mistake is continuing to use damaged or worn worship items. Cracked cups, chipped vases, candle holders, or broken ceramic pieces can make the whole altar look less cared for. Even visually, it feels incomplete, and in Feng Shui, that also reduces the sense of dignity and stability in the worship space. Many homes also keep artificial flowers and fake fruit on the altar for too long. At first, they may still look nice, but over time, they often make the space feel dry, stiff, and lifeless. The altar should feel pure and full of life, so anything that no longer feels fresh can take away its warmth. A dusty and dim worship area is also a very clear mistake. If the altar is rarely cleaned, the lighting is too weak, and the worship items collect dust, the space will start to feel heavy and drained. Just looking at it, you can already sense the coldness, the age, and the stagnant feeling. A space like that cannot easily keep its solemn atmosphere, and without that, it is hard to talk about gathering good energy or preserving blessings. Finally, there is one mistake many families make without noticing. They turn the altar into a storage space. Some people leave papers, lighters, medicine, keys, or random household items around it for convenience. The more that happens, the more the altar loses its separate and sacred role. Instead of being a place of respect, it slowly becomes just another everyday surface. And that is when the energy of the worship area starts to fade. How to keep the altar spiritually vibrant. To keep the altar full of sacred energy, the most important things are consistency and sincerity in how you care for it each day. An altar that is looked after properly usually feels brighter, warmer, and more peaceful. On the other hand, even a beautiful altar can start to feel cold and heavy if it is neglected for too long. First is lighting incense at the right time. This should be done regularly and in a way that fits the family's routine. Many people light incense in the morning, on the full moon, on the first day of the lunar month, or on important worship days. That steady rhythm helps the altar keep its warmth and sense of connection. Next is cleaning the altar properly. This should be done gently, carefully, and in order. Worship items should be kept clean. Water cups should be changed often. Wilted flowers should be removed early, and dust should be wiped away regularly so the area stays bright and open. When the altar is clean, neat, and well cared for, the whole space feels very different. Lastly, keep a respectful mindset when caring for the altar. It sounds simple, but it matters a lot. When you care for it with attention and respect, the worship space keeps its unique solemnity. But when things are done carelessly or just for convenience, that quiet, sacred feeling is easily lost. Take another look at the altar in your home. If you notice even one detail that feels off, adjust it starting today. And if you are still unsure how to arrange it properly, leave a comment below. I will read it and help you work through each point in upcoming videos. Goodbye, and see you again soon.